Alrighty, we are back and I hope that OBS is happier with this. I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir. Is this a joke? Very well, begin your testimony. What other thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir? To enter the evidence room, one must use their ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used his card. An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, Your Honor. The ID used at 5:14 is that of the victim. Just before the crime, Yes, without a doubt, this is the victim's ID. However, one thing does strike me as unusual. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why were there so few people using this room? This particular evidence room is only used for storing certain special cases. Special cases? Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too. Well, it doesn't make much of a difference. There were only a few cases up for transfer there, and most were cleared up by me. Right, I see. Well, now let us move on to the cross-examination.
Objection!
Wait one moment, Officer Meekin. I'm not good at waiting, sir! I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. Well, that makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room at the police department. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot across the street. I have one more Order. So now, what is this all about? Require much thought. Then Officer Meekin has the evidence. Not the Order! 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 Does the prosecution have to respond? I have only one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Bravo. Allow me to summarize the defense's argument. At 5:15 p.m. proceed. The man in the evidence was not of the murder. That's right? Is something wrong, Mr. Wright? Only moments ago you seemed to be pointing your finger around. This isn't going to end well. Trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. Great work. Good job breaking it, hero. How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess?
Objection!
You shot a man and justify it afterwards, Phoenix, just like you always do. One moment, Your Honor. Now, Mr. Wright, don't tell me your objection to what you just proven. Of course not. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? Edward, notably, is actually baffled at this point because he thinks he's kind of helping Phoenix. Not helping Phoenix win, but helping Phoenix figure out what happened, which he actually is, but Phoenix hasn't really cottoned on to this yet. This cross-examination has proven one thing, and one thing only. That the security video did not show the actual murder. Officer J. Clark. He's in charge of the evidence. I think we should hear police department. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. What do you mean? You called for Jake Why didn't you just tell us? Nicole ever asking for his protection. Don't you trust? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You got a lot of nerve, pal, making a detective run all around the world. And to top it off, you call me here? I've seen half your people better be, pal. Hey! I didn't see you there, she trusted this guy. You mean it, right? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma, but why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? No, unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this is a cell 9 incident. Is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago. The rest of the world knew it as the Joker. Oh, Lana? Over with! Emma, wait! You know what? I just remembered I gotta be... Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. 3, trial latter. To be continued. Yes, please save my progress. I don't want to do this again. This game is long and kind of tangled, and it's not my favorite, and I'd really rather only play it once. Alright, I am going to take a brief break to, figure out what the rats are fighting over now. I assume Smash? I will be back in just a few minutes. Until then, feel free to drop your theories into the chat. I would like to know what you think is going on in this case, if you think anything is going on in this case. And I will be right. Alright, I am back. I have fed the rats several banana flavored cereal puffs, so I believe I am back on course for best rat mommy ever in their eyes. I have no idea why it is so much more exciting to get cereal puffs directly from mommy than from a bowl in their cage, but no. Rat's gonna do what rat's gonna do. Just how they are. Oh, and now Yogi has found the refilled Cheerios bowl and he is basically swimming. Well, that's your pear-shaped little boo. Alright. Back to Phoenix Wright. Hopefully Phoenix can make some progress in this case. It's kind of tangled. Now we convene the trial of this monster. Witness, please state your name and occupation. We get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I care for your beard. You don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by two security systems? I mean security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yeah, well, what about the fingerprint activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint activated locks? Kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines. Or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses now, don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Thanks, Judge. Alright, well, we do have one.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a
Objection!
Yeah, fingerprints, maybe. They probably not. I don't think we should go wrong. If you'll recall, we found it in luminol, and we had to find fingerprints outside of these. Not doing up very well, I guess. Yes, your bloodstained fingerprints were at the crime scene. By the way, luminol test well, Officer Marshall. There ain't a person. About the bloodstain? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints, found at the scene of the crime. The witness's explanation appears valid, although there's room for doubt. You can be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it.
Hold it!
The picture? The seal of blood. In the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. Security tape. As long as my trail in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony on this story.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that?
Objection!
But that video's next to useless. It's total blind spot. Cameras are changing back and forth. Before the show, if someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape.
Objection!
Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Red Kevin, or you might wind up being the one making the mistake. Now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Okay, so the locker right behind the badger's head is gun wounds, and the locker with the gun looks a handprint on is thrown way over here by the door. Remember when we first walked into the evidence room, Phoenix commented on a bunch of stuff being sort of sloppily left out? Okay, so we opened the already open locker, dropped a glove. Now the officer really didn't come in to investigate because, I don't know, I guess he has a death wish. There are some people in this game who just have the world's worst luck. Phoenix has the world's weirdest luck. Honestly, closely followed by Apollo, who just resents the hell out of it. It's kind of excessive. It's weird. Okay, so struggle between the victim and Officer Negan has got blood all over his nice coat. Alright. Camera back. Now this poor me gets on the floor and he's just got his deck. He's gonna sit there until another detective slaps him upside the head and brings him around. You don't see the other person sitting? Back. Is it tip off that this is all done in engine and not as an FMV as the soundtrack continues?
Take that!
Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake. I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas. So are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say? in 8 words or less. Very well. Really be seen in this Everyone's staring at me like I'm a walking. Isn't just playing, Dom. He really doesn't know. I hate to for you, part. No! Yeah, whoops. Order! 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 Witness, explain yourself. This is a joke. It's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you this is no joke, officer. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's alright, officer. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that's so, then where was the Great, the mouse works. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There, but well, that's what the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. Who is you? Dressed up like a
Objection! Objection!
He also testified about the man's reaction to his When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story wasn't made. When the man had an ID card, why didn't he show The answer is as pictures of ID Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would be wrong. Officer Deacon wouldn't realize the man wasn't detective. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? I mean, yes, technically it's circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial. People say circumstantial evidence, like you can't actually use that to solve the crime. Most crimes are solved on circumstantial evidence. It's actually relatively rare to have hard forensics for a lot of this stuff. Circumstantial evidence is entirely admissible in a court of law, and a preponderance of circumstantial evidence can be used for a lot of things. Circumstantial criminal trials, the preponderance of the evidence not beyond a reasonable doubt. So if it looks like you kind of did the thing, definitely civil penalties out of it. More relevantly, circumstantial evidence can be stacked up in a court of law to create a certainty beyond a reasonable doubt. There's a saying, once it's done, half the chance, twice as much the third time you put any action. Basically, the more circumstantial evidence becomes more and more close to the possibility that anyone else can do whatever you're accusing this particular person of. Circumstantial evidence is really useful in court of law, and the only reason it's really good in court is because in the court system of this particular game, decisive evidence rules everything. In real court, circumstantial evidence definitely counts. Circumstances are a thing. Dressed up as the Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, obvious that he's the one. It looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. basics. Well, for me, that would be Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. I shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I should look for evidence about about how you can prove or disprove that. It's actually quite simple. It's something you don't need to know one of detective games, which is essentially what the test is. Usually it's a couple days later in the flexible and solve it. It's pretty tiny. But for the next, you're gonna need to go and have Very well, let's take yet another look at the security tape. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. Before the start of the crime, locker is open. What's the date for trademark? himself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. Bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad. Now then, Officer Marshall. Are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. H. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, y'all wouldn't have to be here now would we? 2 years ago, Edgeworth was definitely at the prosecutor's office. It wasn't his first case. You actually see his first case later on in the third game, but it was one of his it would have been one of his earlier cases. Edgeworth was something of a he apparently went through prosecutor school in Europe, which is not actually a thing. In order to qualify as an attorney, at least in the U.S., you have to go through law school in the U.S. to learn U.S. law. And in order to practice in a particular state, you have to be part of the Bar Association in that state. Some states have reciprocal agreements where it's easier to get bar membership in one state if you have a bar membership in neighboring states. Like, I'm in Massachusetts, and I think Rhode Island has an agreement with us. Because the jurisdictions are so small, and the laws are usually fairly close. One of my lawyer friends is barred in Massachusetts, and I think in Washington, D.C. So you can get a bar license in multiple states. You can also be a lawyer without being an attorney. An attorney is somebody with an active bar license who is qualified to stand up in court. You can still work as a lawyer without standing up in court by just, consulting on laws and the processes of the legal process. In any case, going to prosecutor school in Europe is not actually a thing. They've made that up for this game. If you go through law school in Germany, you don't automatically get to practice in the U.S., which is theoretically did. That having been said, what Marshall is talking about would have been one of his earlier cases when he was still basically operating under the Von Karma method, which is win no matter what. He was kind of on a tear, he was young, and he thought that his talents could best be used by just ridding the world of criminals, and obviously if you were in court, you were there because you were a criminal, so he kind of didn't care about procedure or truth as much as he ought to have. Which is why Marshall's kind of pissed. Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. Okay. Seems the time has come. Marshall's confession. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. Wait too much blood for such a small donation. Alright, well, you know.
Hold it!
No, that isn't. Why not? No. The evidence is already gone. Great. So now we have a murder that was two murders that actually wasn't two murders because one of the victims was fake. Plan to kill a whole bunch of men who turned out to have already been stolen from the office. Can't win that. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Our way, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. This will have serious consequences. If you have just been forgiven, you'll cut salary. Salary cuts are has an unusual amount of zeal.
Hold it!
What That's actually a much more accurate representation of what these violent tend to look like. In actual court cases in the US, before you can even get to the trial part, there's sort of like discovery. And at that point, the prosecution is required to come up with any evidence to provide against the defendant. Basically, the lawyers are put
Objection!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much caffeine. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned in here. In a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago. He received the same Lazic prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? He must be talking about the Kenya Prosecutor's Award. Now, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before I did. That's right. He was killed, and the case fell into your hands. But what's his relation to you? He was my brother. What do you mean? That's the reason for your insane actions. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. Now we know what happened at the police department on the day of the crime. It's the last day the SL9 Oh, it's gotta be more than that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which, in turn, means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lawrence Staff.
Objection!
But wait! A verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection!
Which is why we examined the I rest my case. Edward never gets any less smart. It seems this trial has reached its Honor!
Wait,
Emma?
the defense has an objection. A scientific objection. Right?
What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Oh, innocent.
Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking is for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please.
I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. So did you find something?
No.
Huh?
Sorry. I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all.
Is that all?
Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student.
And I'm just an attorney.
But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them... Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save
Me! Oh! Time's up. Now then, Mr. Lana will be... Yes, Your Honor.
Objection!
This handprint left at the crime scene clearly shows a contradiction. Something's missing. What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger. Mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. Look, the Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in. Well, this is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as the Blue Badger's dancing here, it would be at this Don't look at me, I didn't put it there. I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It makes it perfect, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, blood was spilled not once, but twice. What? Think about it. Problem is, the other time. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection!
Yeah. Ah! Miles Just what have you done? Seven, 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 seven. Talk about a lucky number. Yeah, sevens seem to be a lucky number in a lot of these video games. Yeah. Hmm. I am Googling right now to find out where that tradition actually comes from. I think it is originally Chinese, lucky traditions for Chinese New Year. I'll have to look it up. Lucky Sevens pop up in a lot of video games, particularly RPGs from Japan. I know in Final Fantasy VII there is a Lucky Sevens status where if you have 7,777 hit points, your character will go into kind of a berserk mode during battle and continually strike for 7,777. Uh, I wish I knew where. Well, I'll have to look that up for next time. But yeah, the all sevens ID number does have sort of a connotation or a meaning. It's not just a random number. The seven is not particularly relevant to the person it belongs to, as I know. It's an outside thing. It's you see it a lot in gambling too. It's kind of like two is considered snake eyes, and that's not great. I do know that in Asian tradition, especially Japanese tradition, four is very unlucky. Four is considered unlucky in Japanese because the reading "si" is the same as the reading for the kanji for death. Nine is considered moderately unlucky because it can be read "ku," which is a homonym for the character for pain. And in Chinese tradition, eights are also considered lucky because the character for eight is basically two little lines slanting outwards from the center, and supposedly it represents the heavens parting to let money rain down on you. So, anyway, the sevens don't have to do with whoever the number belongs to, but they are definitely a thing that is done. Oh, wait, well, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence? Since there's no record of his card being used before, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in. What? Yes, all nine. Instantly hits you. Did you really only use legitimate evidence? Do you repeat his question to possible? I let him fine, Mr. Edward. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order for him to get the verdict he deserved.
But Lana!
Even if it involved forging evidence. See, that's what I'm talking about. No! Technically, trials can only be 3 days in this world, but it looks like the courtroom will simply not function long enough for that to happen. I believe the next segment is more investigation, so I'm gonna leave off here. I think that would run a little bit long. And we will get back to this next week. So basically, in this episode, the last time we played, we proved that there were 2 murders. This time we proved that there was really only 1 murder, but that it didn't happen in the evidence room when they thought it happened in the evidence room. But clearly something happened in the evidence room before that, probably a murder, but not proven yet. Edgeworth seems pretty rattled by Lana's confession that they forged evidence in the Joe Dark trial, as well he should be, as he was the prosecuting attorney for that case after the death of the initial prosecuting attorney, who was apparently shot by the serial killer. Not really sure how that happened. I guess we will find out later. Yeah, Edgeworth, you know, prior to case 1-4, when he was still really under Von Karma's influence, I don't think he would have been particularly bothered by the forged evidence. Maybe kind of secretly a little, but outwardly he probably would have been like, you know what, the guy deserved to go to jail for many, many murders because he committed many, many murders. At this point, though, having been successfully defended by Phoenix and finding out that Von Karma had in fact murdered his own father, Edward is questioning a lot of things in his life. He's super duper unhappy to hear that he might have actually won that trial with evidence that was not genuine. He was under the impression that he got his conviction fair and square, or at least square. You know, I keep saying it. There is one thing Edgeworth hates worse than losing, and that is being lied to, and he's just found out that the prosecutor's office lied to him about what the evidence that he had to use in court. He definitely likes having a perfect case still, even after his character reformation, but he doesn't like it when his perfect case is knocked down not by somebody finding a logical hole in it. He's not especially pleased by that, but especially if it's Phoenix, he's like, okay, that's interesting, where does it go? He's pissed off when his perfect case falls apart because somebody has given him incorrect evidence. He fucking hates that. He likes to use logic to build up his little constructions, and if logic topples them, okay. But if incorrect assumptions topple them, he is super peeved. So this is basically Edgeworth's worst nightmare at this point. He got a conviction in a very high profile trial. He was at this point pretty sure he was the only person whose hands were actually clean in that instance. And now he's just found out that kind of technically they're not. Officer Marshall seems to be fairly happy with this outcome because it means he's proved one of his hypotheses that he was willing to break into the evidence room and steal shit to prove. But yeah, and Phoenix is still kind of vaguely confused. He doesn't really understand what's going on. Phoenix rarely, if ever, understands what's going on at the start of the trial, so I don't know. Anyway, we will find out how this case ends next week. Uh, Originally, this case did not exist at the beginning of the first game. This was actually written for the DS re-release, and it is supposed to kind of help bridge some plot elements in the time gap between the first and second games. It's about a year after the first game ends, the second game picks up. There was a time gap and there's some plot elements in there that were kind of inferred, and this is meant to help explain them a little bit more. We can discuss whether it does its job or not when we finish the case, which I think should be next time. Next time we look at the case, well, there's an investigation segment and two trial segments, which I think we can get through in one stream. Hopefully the computer I have will cooperate that long. I am not working on my normal computer right now. That one just up and died. Evidently a Hewitt Packard convertible laptop has about the same lifespan as a rat, which the rats are much furrier and more entertaining to interact with, so, you know. Yeah, it shut itself off one day and didn't turn back on, and I went through quite a lot of investigation before deciding the internet's verdict of those just die sometimes was probably correct. Uh, I, I'll try to replace it at some point. I mean, I have a pile of computers, they weren't all kitted up for video as well as that one was. I have the one that I used to do live streaming for other people, but the settings are all kind of different than Twitch because I'm generally not using Twitch. Uh, I miss that one was an HP X360 convertible, and I miss it a little bit. It was reasonably useful. I replaced it with the same kind because Hewlett Packard at this uh, it was not as useful as a tablet as you would have thought. The touchscreen was mainly good for playing games like this on Steam, where I could just sit and poke at the screen instead of using a keyboard or a controller if I felt like it. And it was also really good for playing emulated Android games that were meant to be playing on a mobile phone. It wasn't terribly useful as a standalone tablet, though. So there are a bunch of different kinds of touchscreens you can use on these things. There's resistive ones, like you get on a DS. Those are made of plastic, and they work by the stylus mashes the top layer of the screen into the bottom that changes the electrical resistance of it, and that tells the device where your finger is. There are basically electric eye ones. Most of them work on infrared, like automatic doors at the shop. Some of them work with standing sound waves, but that's basically a little thing that goes over the screen where it's projecting either light or sound waves from one side to the other, and then where the beams are broken, the device can tell where your finger is. The kind of screens used on tablets are inductive touch screens that need to be touched with a thing that actually changes the they can alter the electrical field around where the screen is, which is why only your finger or special stylus pens work on those. And those are really heavy. Because of the construction, they need to be made out of glass. And it's not so bad on a smartphone, because smartphones are not very big, but if you pick one up, it feels a lot heavier than it should for its size. Imagine one of those 14-inch diagonal, also attached to like a laptop body with extra batteries and fans and all of the other laptop stuff in it. Uh, it was pretty heavy. It was really too heavy to carry around as a tablet, and as a drawing surface, I actually have a 10-inch Kindle, which is convenient for portable stuff, and I have a Wacom tablet that I can use at home with any laptop if I want to do it that way. So I'm probably not going to replace it with another convertible if I replace it with anything at all in particular. It was I got it for free from a patron who was cleaning out a business that was closing down, so I'm not really all that broken up about it. I'm just very annoyed that it died on me suddenly and with no warning. The other thing that was on it was a bunch of video work that I was doing as part of what was going to be my December release, which is now not going to be my December release because I had to pull it back off. I was kind of afraid the hard drive would just be a bunch of anonymous NAND chips soldered to the dead motherboard, but it turned out it was an actual M2 drive, so I just had to wait for Amazon to bring me an M2 enclosure, an NVMe enclosure, for me to pull it out and plug it in via USB to a different computer. And that I actually managed to do this morning when it showed up. So all the Twitch stuff that I'm displaying right now is the scenes that I pulled off of the other copy of OBS, which is on a reasonably convenient little, not as big as a phone power bank, smaller and slightly lighter because it's not full of battery goo. This might, yeah, it seems like something I might carry around. It's a terabyte drive, which is not huge. I do have like a full terabyte solid state drive in a regular SATA enclosure that I drop in with like the work computers and stuff to carry things around. But it's not terrible, and I will get all of my stuff off it and resume the video project. The specific project that I am going to put up, when some of the video work is done, is the annotated Ace Attorney. I've had some calls to play the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles that people are kind of interested in, but the games are very, very different in tone and very different in appeal from the mainline series games. And there's actually a lot of historical notes that would probably help American players with those games. Some of it would be really obvious to Japanese players, but not to American players, and I have a lot of context for it. They're kind of fascinating, especially considering the time period that they take place in. So, the basic thing that I've been doing is I've been letting those run through on story mode and then putting up a bunch of subtitles to annotate what's going on the screen. I don't really know how popular it will be, but it's kind of fun for me, and it has. What I lost when that other computer died were hours and hours and hours of footage that I was working on putting the titles onto. So I have to go onto the drive that I have now pulled out of the shell of the old computer and pull off all of the video footage and pull off all of the various titles and the OpenShot projects and all that kind of stuff. I do not use Premiere, I use OpenShot because I'm not paying money for any of this stuff. That's ridiculous. Adobe's subscription model just makes me angry in about 17 different ways. So that's what's going to come up when I get some of this done, when I catch up with the work that I missed because I was busy panicking and trying to diagnose a computer that was unfortunately very dead. The body of the computer, what remains of the computer, is up for grabs. If anybody local wants it, I'm in Boston, we can arrange for pickup. The motherboard is almost certainly absolutely dead, and I pulled the hard drive out of it, but everything else works, including when last I checked the touch screen. So if you want the RAM, screen, drop me a line about it. The email address you see down at the bottom of the screen right now is where you can get a hold of me. If nobody wants it, I may take it apart and try to make a smart mirror out of the screen, because that's always been a project I kind of wanted to do. When I do my artwork, I work a lot with things like light and reflectivity. Most of my dance work has to do with fancy light up costumes or different kind of stage lighting. I'm about to pitch a proposal for another one that involves that will probably be performed in about February or March. If it's accepted, it will probably be accepted because I know the people I'm pitching to and they like that kind of thing. But a smart mirror is basically made by putting a tablet or a monitor behind a piece of basically one-way mirror glass. The way one-way mirror glass is constructed, there's a coating on it that it either reflects or transmits light depending on which side is brighter. You've seen this phenomenon if you have tried to look out the window when it's dark outside but light inside. If light inside, you just see a reflection of yourself in the room. If it's dark inside but light outside, you see out of the window, and people outside see a reflection of themselves rather than into the room with you. The semi-silver glass kind of does that on the smart mirror, so if you keep most of it dark but have certain parts of the display very, very bright, such as from a tablet screen behind a piece of one-way mirror glass, you see the tablet display where that specific light up patch is, but you see a mirror in the rest of the device, which I've always found that really kind of neat. I always kind of wanted a smart makeup mirror, and if nobody else claims the body of the laptop, I may find a little laptop monitor controller board thingy and try to make one out. We'll see how it works. I mean, it's a very slick screen. It's a glass screen, so it's fairly slick. I'm not sure if I can just put one-way mirror film on that thing and do it that way? Possibly. It depends on how the inductive touchscreen works, and I have been Googling the hell out of this, and I can't get anyone to tell me if that would fuck up a touchscreen. So we'll find out, maybe, possibly. In the meantime, I will continue streaming this Ace Attorney stuff as best I can from the temporary computer or a replacement if I can find one cheap enough. I will be back with the rest of Case 1-5 next week. We will finish it next week or the week after, depending on how long the trial segments are. And after that, we will be moving on to Ace Attorney 2, which I believe is Justice Fall. It's an interesting game. It's at least as wacky as the first one, and for those of you who read a lot of fiction, at that point, Takumi, after the first game, just decided to lean into the whole Phoenix Edgeworth thing and started asking his character designer, who had in fact worked on a lot of yaoi manga, how to properly do that. What are the genre conventions? Which I honestly think is the greatest thing. Some dude who probably never wrote one of those things in his entire life went, well, that's what the fans wanted. Let's ask a lady who writes them how to do this right. It's just a very charming instance of creator interactivity that went not the horrible fighty way for once. It's kind of wonderful, and we will hopefully see more of that in the next game once we finish this case. Go ahead and check out my social media sites that are down at the bottom of the screen. I will switch back to the pretty Ratto Moon logo. That I'm really glad I got these pieces of artwork off of the other drive. It didn't take a whole lot of effort to do them in the first place, but I don't really want to replicate it because I kind of like these ones, and I'm not sure how well I could replicate them if I tried from the beginning. I like the Ratto Moon logo. Tune back in later. I'm already working on Ratmas, so eventually if you tune back in, you'll see some of that. Um, Everybody enjoy the winter weather. Kind of like it cold myself. Maybe not this cold. It is like it's been like 20 degrees in Boston the past couple of days. I don't know what it is right now because I frankly have not been outside yet. I'm thinking of putting that off until tomorrow. In the meantime, thank you for attending my Ace Attorney stream. I will see you guys next week. Same rat time, same rat channel, 11 a.m. Eastern, to play more Ace Attorney, where I do all the voices and absolutely kill my book. Thank you so much for attending. Bye bye.